Training doesn't work, is what I would have said if I weren't an identical twin who's been doing power training for 17 years and whose twin brother does endurance training and has been for 17 years. What's up, guys? My name is John Evans. I coach many of the highest jumpers in the world, and in this video, we're gonna be diving into how much training actually impacts your vertical jump. I've been jump training since I was 13 years old. My brother has been endurance training since he was 13 years old. These are at complete odds with each other. Power training trains your nervous system, your type 2 fibers, it increases your tendon stiffness, and if done correctly, the cross-sectional area of your tendons, while distance running trains your type 1 fibers, trains different motor neurons, and while it can change the cross-sectional area of the tendon, you're not able to use it as efficiently as you can if you do power training. A little bit of background, my brother and I did all kinds of different sports growing up. We played baseball, basketball, football, track, soccer, volleyball, tons of different sports from as early as I can remember all the way through high school. At about 14, we started to specialize though, and I leaned into jumping and sprinting, and my brother leaned into distance running, specifically the mile and the 5K. Now, my brother was actually a little bit more athletic than me growing up. He was more confident, he was a better basketball player, he could catch better, he could throw harder. I wasn't as fast, I couldn't throw as hard, I was a little bit more timid than him. But around the time I started to hit puberty, about 13 or 14, I started to do plyometric training. During this time, I was training about twice a week under Jim Radcliffe's plyometric progression, which if you haven't checked out, you definitely should. And my brother started to train for distance running. From this point onward, we leaned heavily into our obsessions. My brother loved to run distance. He was running anywhere from 20 to 50 miles a week through high school and then into college, and now he's running upwards of 80 miles a week. And I leaned into sprint training and jump training. So I'm lifting 2 to 3 times a week. I'm getting my power clean higher, my back squat higher, doing plyometrics, RSI tests, all of the works. As a result, I ended up dunking when I was about 14 years old towards the tail end, right before I turned 15, and my brother didn't dunk until he was 19. Now, because we're identical twins, we have the exact same genetics, meaning I essentially have a control that I'm able to compare to in a very unbiased way. First, I want to talk about the strength differences. My back squat is 355 deep, while my brother's is about 265. This is during a period of time where my brother was lifting anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week and really wasn't doing any distance running. In college, we had a period of time where my brother was focusing heavily on hypertrophy training and trying to get bigger, and during this time, he lifted quite a bit. He got his power clean up to about 185. That was his all-time best, while my best is 255. My absolute best hip thrust is about 600, while my brother's best is around 315, although I think he could probably hit 400 after a couple months. And calf raise, I've done close to 600 pounds, and my brother hasn't tested, but I'd assume he could probably do 315 for reps. Lastly, my RDL is about 385. I think my brother's gone up to about 250. Now, obviously, strength training is super important when it comes to jumping higher. You're able to recruit more motor units, which will allow you, hopefully, to increase your force production and the ceiling on your force production. But also, power clean, an estimate of your power production, is a really good way to measure your rate of force development and your rate coding. Real quick, if you guys are interested in getting a free strength training guide using a lot of the principles that I did to improve my vertical, then go to the description and click the free links below. This is worth thousands and thousands of dollars, but I'm giving it to you for absolutely nothing. Additionally, I actually was quite a bit faster than my brother when I first started training. I got my 100 time all the way down to low 11s. The fastest my brother ran was about 11.8. Now, 11.8 isn't really that slow, especially for a distance runner, but my brother was doing a lot of speed endurance at the time, training a lot of 100s and 200s for the 800, so he actually got relatively fast during that period. In terms of our verticals, my brother's standing vertical, untrained, is about 29.5 inches, and we did this in college as an exercise science student. I, untrained, tested about a 30.5. Now, why this is super interesting is because we had a period of probably 16 months where we didn't really do anything outside of just general lifting. We weren't doing collegiate sports, so we weren't training for track, and we were just going to the gym to stay fit. Now, this is interesting because our baselines are relatively the same. Mine was marginally higher, maybe from all those years of practicing it, but generally we divert back to the mean. Now, trained, my standing vertical went up all the way to 37 inches, and my brother's went down to about 27 when he was under heavy running volume. Now, post-grad, if we're talking absolute peaks, my vertical running is probably anywhere from 40 to 43 inches on my absolute best day ever, and my brother's is maybe 34, 35 when he was in grad school, playing basketball a ton, lifting, and not really doing any distance running. However, his mile time got all the way down to 4:12 in a 1600. His 5K time was around 15 minutes. He might have broken into the 14s. I don't quite remember, but he's very, very, very good at endurance running. Now, I want to talk a little bit about when I stepped away from power training and I actually did endurance running, because it shows you a little bit about my nature as an athlete and what my genetics probably would have made me good at, or what my natural propensity as an athlete is. Senior year of high school, I decided that I was going to do cross country. So for 4 months, I ran every single day, anywhere from 20 to 30 miles. When I first started, my 5K time was about 25 to 26 minutes. By the end of the season, I got all the way down to about 1840 in a 5K. Now, my brother at the time was running about a 1640. His mile time was about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. After the season, I could not dunk. I could not dunk at all. I couldn't do it off a dribble. I couldn't do it off a lob. I was playing basketball that season and really just doing it for fun, but I could not jump. My vertical probably went down all the way to about 30 inches off one foot, maybe even lower. However, after starting to jump again, my vertical came back within about 6 weeks. At this time, I had started lifting a little bit again, but really I was just maxing out specificity, and my vertical probably got up to around 38 inches off of one foot. To sum this video up, I just want to say that training absolutely can modify your vertical. Baseline, my brother and I probably fall around 28 to 29 inches standing vertical. Approach verticals probably around 33. Now, this is with a good basketball background. However, through training, I've been able to increase my vertical all the way to the low 40s, while my brother has been able to improve his distance running to about a D1 level. That's the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.